All right, when it comes to cybersecurity, every single organization out there has a fundamental choice to make. Are you going to build an impenetrable fortress, or are you going to hunt for weaknesses just like an attacker would? Today, we're going to break down these two core strategies, defense and offense, because how you protect yourself is really about your mindset, not just the technology you buy. So let's just boil it down to one simple question. When you think about protecting your digital world, is your first instinct to build stronger, higher walls? Or is it to get down on your hands and knees and start looking for the tiny cracks that an attacker could wiggle through? Your answer to that pretty much says everything about your security philosophy. And this really shows you the two sides of that coin perfectly. Think of defensive security as, building your fortress. It's your shield, it's your walls, it's your armor, it's everything designed to keep the bad guys out. Offensive security, though, that's the sword. It's all about actively testing your own fortress, thinking like the enemy to find those cracks before they do. So let's start with the absolute foundation of any good security plan, defense. It just makes sense, right? You can't really test a fortress that you haven't even built yet. This is all about putting up those walls in the first place. Defensive cybersecurity is, well, pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's all the shields, walls, and armor you put in place to protect your stuff. This is your security guard at the gate, the locks in all the windows, the alarm system that goes off. Its main job is 1, to stop attacks from ever happening, and 2, to react super fast when they do. And here are the actual building blocks of that fortress we're talking about. Firewalls, those are your high stone walls around the perimeter. Multi-factor authentication is like having a really complex lock and a special key, making sure only the right people get inside. And something like patch management, that's just you going around and fixing the small cracks in the mortar before they turn into huge gaping holes. These are the absolute non-negotiable basics. But, building the fortress is really only half the battle. How do you actually know if your walls are going to hold up when a real attack comes? You don't want to just wait and see. Instead, you go on the offense yourself. You test your own defenses. And that is the heart of offensive security. People call it ethical hacking. Instead of just sitting around waiting for an alarm to go off, you proactively put on a hacker's hat. The whole goal is to find and fix your own weaknesses before a real criminal does. You're literally beating them to the punch. So how do you actually do that? Well, with practices like these. Penetration testing, or pen testing for short, is where you literally hire someone to try and break into your systems. A vulnerability assessment is like systematically checking every single door and window to see if you left one unlocked. And red team exercises? Whoa, that's a full-blown simulated attack to see how not just your tech, but your people hold up under pressure. Okay, so we have the shield of defense, and we have the sword of offense. And while they're both trying to protect you, the way they think, the way they operate, and their end goals are totally different. Let's break down exactly what makes them so distinct. This table just lays it all out so clearly. Look at the mindset. The defender, the shield, is always thinking, how do I build a stronger wall? But the attacker, the sword, is asking, how would I break in? This changes everything. Defense becomes reactive, trying to prevent things, while offense is proactive, trying to find things. And check out the timing. Defense is a constant 24/7 job, while offense is usually done as a scheduled checkup. Okay, so we've defined both sides. We get it. Now let's talk about the most important part. What's the right move for you and your business? So which one is it? The shield or the sword? Especially when you've got limited time and money, do you spend it building higher walls, or do you spend it hiring people to try and knock them down? And the answer is, it's a bit of a trick question. It's not either or. The best strategy, the only real strategy, is to have both. But, and this is absolutely critical, the order matters. You have to start with a solid defensive foundation. Trying to test your walls before you have firewalls and backups is like putting the cart way before the horse. Defense always, always comes first. And hey, if you're wondering why it's so important to go that extra mile with offense, here's your answer in one number: $4.45 million. That's the average cost of a single data breach this year. When you look at that number, the cost of hiring some ethical hackers to find your flaws ahead of time starts to look like a pretty smart investment, doesn't it? It's just good financial sense. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, this roadmap gives you a pretty good idea. For the first 6 months, you're all in on building that defensive foundation. Then you start to strengthen it and add monitoring, something like MDR, which is basically a 24/7 security team watching over your shoulder. And only then, maybe in year 2, Once everything is solid, do you start actively testing your own defenses with things like a pen test? It's a journey, a step-by-step process. So what's the end game here? What happens when you successfully bring both of these strategies together? Well, you get to a place of real security maturity, where the whole thing is way, way more powerful than just its individual parts. This is what's known in the industry as a purple team. It's where your offensive experts, the red team, and your defensive experts, the blue team, stop being adversaries and start being collaborators. The red team attacks, the blue team defends, and then they get together and share notes in real time. It creates this incredible continuous feedback loop where you're getting stronger every single day. And that really brings us to the bottom line. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Your security is absolutely going to be tested. That's a guarantee. The only choice you really have is who's going to do the testing. Is it going to be a team that you hired to help you get better? Or is it going to be a criminal who's there to ruin your day? When you think about it like that, the choice seems pretty clear.